Hi, it's Nicole, and today we're going to have a look at the books that I'm intending to read for the Women in Translation Readathon. The first book that I have on my list that I've already started a little bit into is It's Only Blood, Shattering the Taboo of Menstruation by Anna Dahlqvist and translated by Alice Olsson. So this book does what it says on the tin. It's looking into the taboo of menstruation and how that's affected by different cultures, poverty levels, countries, things like that. It's a topic that I think is very important and a lot further reaching than might initially seem to be. There are links to mortality, maternal mortality, as well as infant mortality and disease and all sorts of other things as well. And I think it's kind of often taken for granted and not looked at as being very serious just because it's a women's issue. Anna Dahlqvist, as far as I know, is a journalist, and I am assuming she's also a feminist. I get that impression very strongly from what I've already read, and I think it'll be an interesting read to see what she kind of uncovers, if there's anything new. I'm not sure that there will be anything that's particularly surprising to me. It's not surprising that women in poorer areas have a lot more issues with managing their menstruation. It's not surprising to me that they don't have access to clean running water or privacy or just menstrual products in general. So I don't know if there's going to be anything that pops up that I'm really shocked by, really. But I think just knowing the facts and being able to explain things better to other people is maybe going to be helpful in some way. I don't know. And it's a topic that I think deserves a lot more attention and respect than it generally is given, and it is important, especially for people in regions where you can't take for granted the privacy and the resources to manage your menstrual health. The next book on my list is The Last Children of Tokyo by Yōko Tawada, and it has been translated from the Japanese by Margaret Mitsutani. And I actually have the book, but it's a really shiny cover because it's from the library, so I'm just going to put an image in there instead because it's a lot easier to see it that way. So it follows a centenarian who thinks that he might outlive his weak and sickly grandson. And I got the impression that there was an element of magical realism in there as well, but I'm not completely sure. It might not be like that at all. But either way, it sounded like a book that would have a lot of introspection and thoughts on mortality and death and getting older, and all of those things are, while a little bit somber, things that really interest me, and I feel like I'm often drawn to that kind of content. So I have high hopes for this book, but not too high because I don't want to be disappointed by it either, since this is a new author for me. And lastly for this TBR, I have Confessions by Kanae Minato, and it has been translated by Snyder. As far as I know, it's kind of a crime thriller drama type thing, and I seem to really like that genre written by Japanese authors. I could be wrong because I've only read a few books sort of in that category, but I have a feeling it's something that I'll really enjoy. So from what I do know, and with this genre I especially don't like to go in knowing too much, but the 4-year-old daughter of Yōko Moriguchi dies at the middle school that she teaches at, but Yōko does not think that it was an accident. She thinks that 2 students in her class might have something to do with the death of her child. That's all I know so far. So I'm really excited for that one. It's also not too long, and I think with a thriller they tend to go a little bit faster, so maybe it'll be a good one for the readathon. I don't know. Again, with this, I've got 3 books lined up, but I expect that I might only get through 1 probably. If I get through more than that, I'll be super thrilled. But I'm excited about all of them. And although I didn't pick any of them with any regard at all to the readathon challenges, I found that I'm ticking a lot of the challenge boxes anyway, so I thought it would be kind of fun to see which ones are ticked, I guess. It's Only Blood happens to check off quite a lot of the challenges just on its own. So firstly, it is not a novel, it's a non-fiction book. Secondly, it deals largely with childhood, and I guess it doesn't seem like it would necessarily, but the first chapter starts by talking about how a lot of girls in these different poorer developing countries are dealing with menstruation when it strikes, with no support from anyone and no resources to handle that part of their lives in a healthy way. And it quite clearly and dramatically has red on the cover. It's Only Blood is also translated from a language that I have never, as far as I can think of, read a book translated from before, that language being Swedish. I don't think it's a big stretch to say that both The Last Children of Tokyo and Confessions are also dealing with childhood, sort of, as well. Well, I mean, it's dealing with children, so that's good enough for me. And Confessions has red on the cover, though while Confessions is not translated by a woman, The Last Children of Tokyo is. I have no books by Nobel Laureates, and as far as I know, though I haven't actually looked it up, none of the books have been translated posthumously. But I am cool with that. So let me know if you are also participating in Women in Translation Readathon Week, which is the 25th of August until the 31st, I think, maybe. I could have those dates wrong, I don't know, but I'll put everything that I know in the description box below. And if you are participating, then please do let me know what you're thinking about reading, because even if these are the books that I'm reading for the readathon, it's always great to have more recommendations for other books in translation to read, and that's kind of the whole point, isn't it? To make us all more aware of the reading world outside of our English-speaking bubble. So I hope you're excited about the Women in Translation Week as well, and Women in Translation Month, and I will see you again next time. Bye!